All right, I got a quick fun video for you guys today. I gathered some data and I want to talk about how to make $1,000 in dividends. Pretty basic, but there are a few ways to attack this goal, and I'm going to lay them out right now. So the first way is right here, path 1, and this is just straight up investing X amount of money to generate $1,000 in yearly dividend income. And we can see right here, I'm using QYLD just for a comparison's sake because it's very popular and it essentially has the highest dividend yield. So I'm using that just as the benchmark. And we can see that to achieve $1,000 in yearly dividend income, you need $9,000. To achieve the same goal with SCHD right off the bat, you would need $33,000. And right here, that's why so many people love this ETF. But there's other options and paths I'm going to get to in a second. And hopefully that's going to show why QYLD isn't necessarily the best long-term holding. So then path 2, this is also very popular. And this is the whole growth path. So put your money into growth ETFs and then sell out and buy dividend funds like QYLD. So the first one here is VUG. This is the Vanguard Growth ETF. And over the past 5 years, it had an annual return of 22%. So that means that you only need $3,300 in 5 years of time to generate that $9,000 of value that you can then invest in something like QYLD and generate that $1,000 in dividend income. There's also the ARKK ETFs. We can see that over the past 5 years, they had an annual return of 44%. So that means if you invested in the ARKK, you only need $1,500, 5 years of time to get that $9,000 that you can then once again invest into some kind of cash flow producing fund. So paths 1 and 2 are very simple and basic, and it's what most people do. But there is a third path, and this is the path of compound interest. So this is what I did. I found this really awesome tool. I'll leave it linked down below. It's a dividend calculator, and it factors in all kinds of stuff, even taxes, the distribution frequency, the annual dividend yield, the expected annual dividend increase, the expected annual share price appreciation, and the time frame. And I like this tool a lot because it projects and kind of simulates the future with compounding. Now, the way I did this is I took the past 5 years of various ETFs. I took their average numbers and I put them into here to simulate the next 5 years as if they're going to be exactly the same as the past 5 years, which of course isn't the case, but it's the closest thing I could do. So I did this first with SCHD, and we can see that with all of these, I had $10,000 initial investment, just it's an arbitrary number, and I let it bake for 5 years. But these three are really the big numbers here. So we can see the annual dividend yield, the expected annual dividend increase, and the expected annual share price appreciation. And I pulled most of this information from Seeking Alpha. We can see the average yield here. We can go to the growth in the dividend, and all the data is right here. And for the yearly share price appreciation, I kept it very basic. We can see in the past 5 years, it went up 88%. So I just divided that by 5. So once again, this is very basic, but hopefully it gives you just an idea of how the compounding could work in the future. So with these numbers on SCHD, we can see the results right here. So let's digest it a little bit. We can see that the first line is year 1. You got that $10,000 in initial principal. And with that dividend yield, you make roughly $300. And then DRIP is simply taking that dividend and reinvesting it back onto itself minus taxes. The principal increase is that average of 17% price appreciation per year. And then over here, we have the new balance, which of course is the price appreciation with the dividend reinvested back onto itself. And then line 2 begins all over again, and the simulation continues 5 times, and it's exactly the same every year. So real life isn't like that, but once again, it just gives you an idea. And we can see the annual dividend right here does increase. We can see year 1, you make $300 in dividends, and year 5, you make almost $1,000, and that's without any additional contributions. We can see at the end of 5 years, you have roughly $25,000, and the total dividends paid out to you is $2,800. And year 3 at some point is where you make that $1,000 in dividend income. Now, I did this with a few more ETFs. If you've been following the channel, you know that Divo is one that I really like. So I simulated that one as well to the best of my ability. This ETF is mostly just dividend companies, but they do have a strategy of selling covered calls on top of it to generate a slightly higher dividend yield. So that's why the dividend yield here is 5%. The expected annual dividend increase, I kind of had a guess, and I chose 6%. So once again, it's not an exact science, but it's the best I could do. And the expected annual share price appreciation is only 8.6% because once again, that's just the 5-year average looking backwards. And then these are the results. We can see that with this ETF in year 2, you make $1,000 in dividend income. And something that's really cool is that by year 5, you're making $1,000 per year in dividend income with this ETF, with that initial $10,000 invested. And at the end of the 5 years, you have $18,000 and a total of $3,700 paid out to you in dividends. And then lastly, I did this with QYLD just to show why this ETF isn't great for long-term holding. So it has a very high dividend yield, 11%. The expected annual dividend increase is 0, and the expected annual share price appreciation is 0.6%. So that means yearly it has a total return of technically 11.6%. And a way we can double check this is by going to a total return calculator. So this takes into consideration the price appreciation and reinvesting the dividend over the past 5 years. And we can see down here that for QYLD, the average annual return is just over 11%. So it's essentially all from the dividend. If we come over to Seeking Alpha, we can confirm this, and actually the yield on cost with QYLD is declining slightly, and this is why it's not a great investment. And after running the simulation, these are indeed the results, and we can see the yield doesn't really change, and you do end with the smallest balance, but of course the most paid to you in dividends. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, got something out of this. I just wanted to show all the different ways that you could generate money through dividends. I feel like a lot of people fall for the yield trap of QYLD, and they go through path 1 of just taking a lump sum of money, putting into QYLD, and just letting it generate dividends. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that, but you have other paths. You can let the money first grow in a general growth index and then invest into high dividend ETF. Or you could just buy quality dividend-paying ETFs to begin with and let it compound over time, because so many people don't understand the true power of letting an investment compound. It's really phenomenal, like actually. I mean, in 5 short years, just for this example, you can go from $300 in dividend income per year to almost $1,000 without adding any additional money. But that's the end of the video. I hope you guys got something out of it and enjoyed. Please leave a like on your way out, and I'll see you next time.